Hello. We are back. Right. We are in the third and final part of this first case. So let's oops, sorry. Just messing with the mic. Let's continue on, get this first case finished up, and then we'll take a look at the escapade? I keep wanting to call them anecdotes. But the escapade for the end of this episode. Let's get in there. We've just taken a quick recess for something, but I can't remember what. Let's have a look at the court record. Yeah, I can't remember what we took the break for. I guess we'll get a recap here. Right, yes, she interrupted. Sorry, let me just get my throat ready. Try and remember all of the voices I did, even though it was only 2 days ago. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense. Why is this sudden ingress? Why this sudden ingress into my courtroom? Ha! A judicial assistant, and a woman no less. Wow. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify. Yes, I fully understand. I ask for only 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. Ha! You're too late, little girl. The trial has already been concluded. 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more. But, Your Excellency. I am most grateful. Alright, some new evidence. Just gonna pull our ass out of the fire. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. What is it? A report about something written in English? It's Giselle Brett's research. The English woman's. After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical facility and borrowed this paper. Ah yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of cure and its effects on human subjects. A curare. Interesting. Oh, I feel like I haven't got the graveliness of the Kazuma voice I was doing before. Curare. What's that? I've never heard of it before. Time's up. The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful, thank you. Court record added. Goodbye then, and good luck. Oh, she's faded away. They could have just cut away and then cut back and she's just not there anymore, but no. Just a fade into the distance. Alright, let's take a look at this thing. Poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. Hunters of the region used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Affects instant paralysis of the body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. Route of entry. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, like having a tooth removed. Such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused As a result of the full-body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. Okay. So that's what was in the carbonated water, which entered his bloodstream through his removed tooth in his gums. You've had long enough, Counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and the defense now, one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but... The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. Reinosuke, we're running out of options here. This really is our last chance. Yeah, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency? If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer. It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time, and... Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question, however. I must ask you to treat that as an order. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. So, Counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? Well, it's literally going to be the thing we were just given.
Yes!
Mr. Giselle Brett, we understand you are studying under Dr. Wilson at the Yume University doing research. Research by sheer coincidence, perhaps, into a deadly poison. What? Poison? Where are you going with this, Counsel? Come on, George. Put it together. A toxin known as curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death. What a complete and utter nonsense. Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it. You wouldn't have done. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of curare before, for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist? Correct, which means no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What? Order. Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report, authored by the visiting research student from England, curare has been used in the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The reports state that it is produced from an extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle. It was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by the arrows laced with curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Barrett? Trumpery! These aspersions are utter trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the other diners would have surely noticed. That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. You're literally looking at the report that says it's a paralytic. Come on, dude. Oh, pardon me. Oh, I need to sneeze again, but it's not coming. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that curare is used. Explain yourself, counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they're in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. And then his hand flops down on top of a hot metal plate and he gets the burn on his arm. Oh my god, my hair fever's kicking my ass today. But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous. To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curare poison. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison? This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense. If I may. All these facts. You think you're so clever, but you... It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady! So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime. That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree? Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. What's so funny? Oh, excuse me. Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett. May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see, why not? She's gonna drink from it to prove that the poison... Yeah. Wow. Bespoke animation just for this one little sequence. Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant island boys. Sorry. To an English woman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games, and these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for these games to end. Cheers. What are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. And she's fine. Goodness. Whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned. So, no curare. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, it's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Burt? I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all of the assistance you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she swallow the whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for an interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have been kneeling over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. The bottle of water. How else would... Could he have eaten a piece of the meat? Or did she slip it into his glass and not into the bottle itself? Why is the plate on his side of the table anyway? It was into the glass, and she took his glass and left her own. That's why she has the glass. Okay. Contains no poison, because it's in the glass. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle. What? Why, Ryunosuke? Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now. Sometimes your unadulterated naivety really astounds me. But sometimes it's in need of a good staining. Until it's as dark as your uniform in ways of the world. Oh, is that what colour his... Oh, is that what this colour is supposed to represent? That was a guileless ending to a promising line of inquiry, Counsel. Oh, what? For which you will be penalised. This whole trial is poisoned. Oh, I thought I had it there. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have kneeled over dead. Yeah, I guess the only other option that I've got. The culprit did put curare poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious? Fool, are you blind? There's no possible way that the bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw. Miss Brett drinking the water from it? That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think. I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the courtroom records somewhere. It has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly poisoned water unscathed? Hang on, let me examine. Has to enter the body through a wound.
Yes.
The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report. That's not a valid explanation. No? After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes. Is that the first time we got her name? Her first name? I didn't remember hearing it before. Oh, we got it as she entered the room, didn't she? Yeah, okay. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle? Was it under special characteristics? I think it was. Yeah. We've been hearing a lot about this curare poison, and it's left me curious about something. Oh, counsel? Well, it seems as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of their arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, counsel. No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see. That makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seems a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew curare's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little... Oh shit, the swan's alive! Rapscallion! Wait, the swan's alive? Well, Reyneske, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Wow, thanks. Really? Me? A lawyer? All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how it possibly... So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in the book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, curare is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus. Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they? So, if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? Ah! That's right. No, because he had a fucking tooth removed. We've been over this. God. Good gracious. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? Order. Order in the court. Order. The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Ah, are you trying to suggest? Yes, this curare poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt something like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all of the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. More than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection!
Oh, hell yeah. I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence. As we now know, the poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the... It's the fucking... We know. Which one was it? Medical report card.
Take that!
As Miss Brett so readily points out, she drank the same poison as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. A fatal difference? The toxic effects of curare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But, what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes, like the wounds you might have if you had just been to the dentist. Had a tooth extracted, for example. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used the knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games, near half-baked or arguments, are also puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. What the fuck's she doing? You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No. I mean, it could just slip. Oh, what the fuck? Come on. Like, everyone in the courtroom's got to look at that and just be like, yeah, she's destroying evidence. What the fuck? Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have been tragically destroyed. No. No! What is it? What just happened? It's the English woman. She smashed that bowl. And in the courtroom, what a terrible blunder. Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from the broken bottle as possible, at once. You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle or not. Just punch her in the gut and make her throw up all the stuff that she drank. You. Let us not forget. We still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady. That's right, and really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is this little schoolboy. No, you killed the victim that day, using curare. And then, in order to frame Royaneske Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. As you had nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Royaneske Naruhodo. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she's destroyed that evidence was obscene. Royaneske. Yeah? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there were any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. You're right, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. Wait, did I read that right? No, yeah, I did read that right. So think back again, now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every colour, every smell. Why would colour and smell? What I saw, what I felt. Every colour. Oh. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of this scene, of this same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Come on, why is this even a question? Actually, Kazma, I think I might have something. Thinking back to everything I saw, I think I may have uncovered another clue. Haha, you always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe that smug smile off that English woman's face and with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling at me for a while that something feels amiss with my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving to the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. The clues that... Oh my god, they're going to make me the magnifying glass identify it. Come on. Good, that somehow shows that Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is... Yeah, it's the fucking blood. Come on. Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? He's still miles away. Probably thinking about the bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took something else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak you took to the victim's table that day. Oops. Wait a minute. Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw on that wooden... Oh, pardon me. I saw on that wooden base of the plate that the steak was... Oh, sorry. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything here. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way the blood of the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Yes, I was wondering when this was going to pop up, because what's it called? Post-mortem report specifies that the bullet didn't travel through his body. So I was wondering when that particular fact was going to come up in the case. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter, which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor as you were. Giselle Brett. I beg your pardon. This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing? Hosonaga, with the plate. This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean? That's a new animation for her, with the hand cloth. Yes, I took the plate, in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it. You did what? I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now. Inspector, the court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. Oh, she's gone from the witness stand. Sorry for the delay. Here is what you ordered, the steak. Well, what about the blood? Is the blood on it? Of course there isn't. Quickly, Inspector. The blood man. Show the court. Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. Ah, fuck. No, that's the wrong steak, isn't it? Where's the 4? It's kind of hard to tell. No, that is the right steak, isn't it? Is it? No, it's not. Okay, closer to the chair. Yeah, that's not the right stick. Because he just said he took the sergeant's stick as well. No, no blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's impossible. Yeah, it's the wrong stick. He's given us the wrong one. I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. Did she swap the plates? What an unbecoming expression, little boy. As you see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you, Jesus. I couldn't agree more in the case of this disgrace to the Empire. I believe we may finally have reached the conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at a courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. Ha! This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. It's the wrong steak. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest. Add it to the court records. Was the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? Do we have the option to... we do. Oh, what the fuck? Huh? Oh, because the antique dealer thought that the sergeant had stolen the coin. So he was hiding it under the stakes. This is the sergeant's. Yes, okay. What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin. It's the hallmark of the Hoei era, I believe. No, I mean, what is... I don't mean what is it. I mean, what is it doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apparently from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. Wait, this isn't the first time today there's been talk of a Hoei Koban. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion in bullion. Fuck off. And I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means... I certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat. And it's from the Hoei era too. That would make it really quite valuable. Well, it's well marinated in juices as well, look. What do you think? What, are you thinking of eating it? No, no. But the next time I order steak in an expensive restaurant. One thing's for sure. So my brain turned off for a second there. One thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize. I think you may have the wrong end of the stick about this, Ruinosuke. Cobra coin underneath the steak. There's only one logical explanation. It's the wrong fucking steak. May as well examine this as well. This emblem on the side of the plate. Is it a cat? It's a cow, obviously. Most likely because this restaurant's signature dish is beef steak. It seems a lot of different restaurants have their own unique tableware. So this is the symbol of the carnival, is it? Is there anything else to examine? Or that was it. Cool. This is it now. I've lost. Ruinosuke. It's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Objection? Does the defense have any objection? Yeah. That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? There's another clue. Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue will reveal the shocking truth. The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beef steak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. Hey, I like this judge. He's a lot more dedicated to his role than the old man judge was in Phoenix Wright. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense. You will now clearly show the court to what you are alluding. Where precisely on this plate of beef steak is the new clue to be found? Under the steak. Huh? What in the world is this? Oh, well, this is just repeating. I could fast forward through this. Alright, yeah, we've heard all this before. Coin. Okay, yeah, this is all repeating. Did I have the option to present? I think I might have. Come on. Oh yeah, I did have an option to present.
Got it!
Got it! Good gracious, that's... Koban? What on earth? A Hoeyero one at that. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beef steak that you ordered from the restaurant in question. On that day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat? What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want no part of it. I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction. Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen. A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel. A rare Hoei Koban happens to be hidden. A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now. By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway. Everyone's just shouting over each other. Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant. Even though I'm the one on trial here. The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the steak is...
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer, the owner of Rasute. Curio... Yeah, obviously. Okay, so I'm trying to see if like his full name is like a pun, but it's just his first name. Curio... Korekute. Kiri? As in Mr. Cucumber something. Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for a treasure. Indeed, the Hoei Koban, my prized coin. Then this Hoei Koban, do you mean to tell me? Dear me. Oh, dear me. Oh, God, my hay fever today is terrible. No. Please, why Rakuta-san's Koban? Be sandwiched between the victim's beef steak and its plate. It makes no sense. Which is why I'm asking to bring Kurakuta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer, bring both the witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. Alright, we're gonna now go through a whole bunch of rigmarole to find out the sergeant actually stole it, put it under his steak. And that the steak that in front of us isn't the one. And that Hosonaga fucked up. Brought the wrong one. God, this is like a weird side thing to get into. I can't believe we've come back around to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that it's the key element in this case. Oh, all four of them are the... Oh my god. How big is the witness stand? What is all this about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize it's time for dinner time for the little baby Ido? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves. Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness. What are you gonna do with that knife? And when cast from this courtroom myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this Rasute shop owner's existence. Be that as it may, Korekuta-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, have you... Whoa! Oh god, they switched into Sergeant's foot. Oh man, the amount of extra animations that they've put into this game is great. Yes, that's it. The one, the very exact one that it is. The resplendent, splendoriferous Hoei treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be. As I thought. Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped? Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beef steak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices. Sandwich? Soaking? Seriously? Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. Somebody concealed my Hoei treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate. Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing. It's the sergeant. Sergeant did it. We know he did it. It's obvious he did it. The dude is fucking sweating up a storm. Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation. The Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent undercover, is it? Yes. I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korekuta-kan's Koban is all too clear. What? What? I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel that stole Korekuta-kan's Koban and hid it under the steak? Well, sorry, Sergeant. Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant, yes sir, no sir. What? How? How dare you? You monster. Monster? I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? It wasn't me, it was Ido. Ido was the mastermind behind it all. Wow, you're just blaming your son. Well, it probably is the kid. You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son? An innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. Clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop. Wait, are we gonna get an evil reveal of the baby? What? Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant. Sergeant. Yes and no, sir. Preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. I guess they made so many more like extra animations for the characters in this because it's 3D models rather than having to draw brand new 2D ones. They can just like animate the 3D ones in whatever crazy fashion they want. Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep its country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recent ended conflicts remains in place. I have heard that it's hard for lower ranking officials to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, I go there and do some reconnaissance for a target. And I enjoyed chopping my way through a good steak at the same table. At the same time. But... hang on. You're stealing to feed your son, but you're also... In order to steal, you are going to a high-end restaurant and buying steak. That doesn't... You need to sort out your finances, my dude. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork, even, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man and his koban. Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the steak. I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Bang. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. Ido too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the steak. Hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. You slipped under your beef. No one's got anything to say about that. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time. Well, Miss Brett? Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. This is the slam noise as he hits his head on the table. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency. Indeed. The theft of the koban is clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Objection. Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it?
Well, oof.
As for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone.
Objection.
And good day. The thinking face.
He's putting it together. I wish they'd just do like a little zoom in X-ray of his head, and it's just like a gear slowly turning. Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming.
Oh, no, it's just something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. Can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up.
If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard.
Sorry?
You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett.
What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time. There's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction? What new student nonsense is this?
Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke?
Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction.
I'm going to need to see evidence, counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it? I actually don't fucking know.
Oh. Yes, it has been swapped because he's been... Yeah. Because those would be teeth marks, rather than being cut with a knife and fork.
Take that!
It's the steak itself.
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed? Yes. Go on.
More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're just splitting hairs. Not true. Doesn't something about this steak strike you as very unnatural?
Unnatural?
What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett.
Notice what exactly, counsel?
Just a few months ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman would even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork.
Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself.
Then take a good look at this steak, in particular, the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there.
Looks like Miss Brett has realized something.
Because if we look back at this photo... Oh, that is the photo. Yeah, okay, so it got swapped. Yeah. So sometime after he got shot. Or before he got shot, it was swapped. After? After he got shot and before the photo was taken, the plates got swapped. Look. No. The blood was on...
Yeah, so after this photo got taken, but before this one was taken, because the blood was on this one when it's in colour. And then that's the one that's been bitten into. And you can't see, because his body in the chair's in the way, you can't see that it's different indentation on the step. Well, you kind of can. Yeah, you can, because the bottom... There's more steak on that one. Yeah, okay. Looks like Miss Brett has realised something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all. But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously... Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course, of course. This will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave everything... I've heard enough. You irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Of course. Dear lady. What is the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implication of these teeth marks in the steak. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her. Murnosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yeah, I've known for like the past 20 minutes, dude. Come on. Yes, now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in the steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstains I saw somehow seem to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard you say that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase, typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. It hasn't been what? But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist. This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you're saying there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it. No, Hosonaga has it. I don't. But there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. And who is this individual? Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair? The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it? Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this steak with the teeth marks. Yes? Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nost told the court the following. I'd enjoyed chomping my way through a good steak,
and as well as admitting to stealing Korekuta's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the stake.
You, watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer.
Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the stake you put the coin under, in fact, your own stake?
Attention. Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she might be manhandling her meat to hide something in it.
In other words, the stake that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal. But that makes no sense. The plate was taken from the victim's table. Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of a steak, nor does she have any opportunity to steal the coin. No, of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. No, we're just accusing you of murder instead.
Well then, how do you explain this paradox?
Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two stakes over. You did switch the plates.
Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted the stake and hid the coin underneath it. But then when the waiter announced that he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With my military precision and timing, I switched my stake with the one on the foreign lady's table.
What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing.
It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done.
Unbelievable. Oh, old man, curious, fucking steaming. Look at he's shaken with rage.
However, fear not, Prosecutor-san.
What now?
I swear on the brass buttons on my uniform. That is all I did, sir.
All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant. So, if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, means he took Miss Brett's steak, the plate, and the plate it was on back to his own table.
Yes, that follows.
Inspector Hosonaga.
Yes.
Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that not only had you taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. To preserve the evidence, you'd taken both. Ah. Oh.
That's correct.
Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot. What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat? It can't have even this. It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
No, no, you're not wriggling your way out of it this time, lady.
I beg your pardon?
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why this steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no?
Huh. You're the ones who decided there was a problem, not me.
The reason the defense asked to see that plate was to confirm something that the defendant remembers seeing.
Thinks he remembers. I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett.
on the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Mr. Wilson. There was a clear splattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe that the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Wipe. Yes, sir. Sorry for keeping you. Oh shit, there's the blood. Here is the other steak and its plate. Oh snap, I didn't notice that there was blood on the... Fuck, Jesus. Some detective. Please, feel free to examine it. Big ol' fucking bloodstain. Clean cut. Bloodstain. It's clearly visible. Look. Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim. It can't be. In fact, there's only one person who could have possibly shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. Are we going to see the full breakdown animation? Because they always have big, fancy, elaborate breakdowns. That's right, Mr. Gilbert. Giselbert, even. It's you! Oh, the swan, no! Outdone by a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No, no, no. Ah. Oh, was that a chick that fell out of the hat? Oh, God. Black Swan! Little Black Swan chick. Alright, that's going to be the thumbnail for the YouTube video. Oh, it's so stupid, I love it. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behaviour from an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. We still don't have a motive for why she killed him. It was I who took the professor's life, using curare. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Because curare is unheard of here in Japan. Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water, and it would all be over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor.
meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of curare in my hand, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt? So I was right, there were 2 guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Placed where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I'd intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, bang! That's when you shot the professor with your own gun, even though at that point he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around, and the sergeant and the curator didn't notice this? But of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he'd picked up the gun. Oh, I guess the old man was on the floor looking for his coin. And Yasunosa was looking for an opportunity to swap the plates. So they weren't really paying attention to what she was doing. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Misdemeanor? You fucking murdered a dude. Your Excellency. Yes? I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later? I shall call on you. Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san. You just admitted to murder, you're not getting away with this. Surely. Well, she just faded from existence, so I think she got away with it. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement. This can't be. Takatsuchi Auchi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student. You'd better start getting used to tough opposition. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yes? This insult to the Auchi family name will never be forgotten. You've become conceited with age, Counsel, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Yeah, I'm glad I'm glad Ryunosuke knew to move aside for that. 1,000 millennia may pass, and still the Auchi clan may never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. Hey. We know that's the case. This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, You, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case.
I thank you, Your Excellency.
The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asogi. Yes. After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. The mission? I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind. As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Oh, yes.
In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty.
So what are we going to do about the lady that admitted to murder? Like, what happens to her?
This court is now adjourned.
Outside the Supreme Court.
I wonder if that bailiff's going to say sorry. Probably not.
I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial.
Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations.
Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma.
No, it was a pleasure to watch you work. So, you owe me an extra large sakiyuki from the place on Yume University Street. Don't forget.
I assume this is going to be... What was he called? Monokuta?
Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off.
Oh, nope. Wrong voice entirely. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence.
A trusty judicial assistant. You worked hard for that result too, you know.
Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much. If we hadn't had that research report with Miss Brett's, I didn't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be from my father. I was simply doing what he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate.
Your father?
Oh yes, of course. Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotaba, Judicial Assistance to the Defense. Speaking of Mikotaba...
There you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job.
Thank you, Professor. God, I hope I don't have to do his voice a lot in the future, because the one I've given him sucks to do.
No, it's I who should be thanking you, after all. Your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend.
Good friend?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Professor Mikotaba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's where you met Dr. Wilson? Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital. Oh, you worked together? I never heard you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world in science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan. You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you? Of course I am. A Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. It cuts down anything that's in my way. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. That reminds me, what's happening to the woman? To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but... What do you mean? Surely she's gonna face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all. She'll be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai. What? Shanghai? Giselle Brett may not appear in the court again in this country. I'm certain of that. What? But why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Who's saying that? Oh. Hosonaga. Inspector Hosonaga. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate... But what's all this about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. Right, because he's English citizen that murdered an English citizen, so it would fall under British jurisdiction, I'm assuming, as part of the agreement that they made with Japan. What? We can't try her? But then, who? Who's going to bring her to justice? Yeah, she'd have to be tried in a British court. A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away, where our voices can't be heard. But why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now. That we've signed the French... the thing of the past now that we've signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke the consular court like that. Oh, can't they? Yes. She's a student, but that doesn't justify our government's making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. Yeah, we still don't have a reason, like a motive as to why she killed him in the first place. Is it part of like a much larger conspiracy thing going on? So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan. I'm afraid for that young student. Today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. Oh God. Oh God, this voice is fucking up my throat. Oh God. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her. I don't believe it. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, That woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, the change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening calls for a celebratory drink.
But Professor,
You're right. This is now time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Roynosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun.
in that case, might I suggest La Carnival? As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. Yeah, you're a detective, Hosonaga-san, aren't you? And you've also found out who the thief was, so you can stop pretending to be a waiter. Let's not worry about details for now. To La Carnival, will you accompany us, Professor?
Of course, the Carnival's food is second to none.
I shall go and attend to the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release. Oh, yes, thank you. So, Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. But little did I know, in the next case, maybe...
Kazuma.
Yes, Roynosuke. I just wanted to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today.
I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? That defense was all your own work.
Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world.
I'm not so sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you were the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me.
What? Come on, be serious.
If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it. For being a defense lawyer, I mean.
Oh, no, not me. All that tense verbal combat, I never wanted to go through that ever again. I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you.
That's the point.
Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point?
Listen, Roynosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win?
Knowledge of the law?
No. The ability to believe.
To believe? To believe what?
A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times.
Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it.
I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth.
But you have to make a choice about what to believe in and stick to it when you're defending someone.
Sometimes in the courtroom, you can be really backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you choose to believe in, even then, well, that's not something anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person.
Believing in your client.
Just look at today's trial.
I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stopped believing in me. Well, you faced a seemingly hopeless situation time and time again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts, and because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma.
There's something I want to ask you, actually, Roynosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something really important to me.
Sounds serious. What is... Ah, you're still here, are you? Oh, Inspector Hosonaga. I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go.
Thank you. We'll be right there. Wipe the blood off your face. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah, yes, that too. Is he gonna fucking die next chapter? So my very first trial came to an end. Are they actually gonna do like another Mia faced? Was it Maya? Mia? No, it was Mia was the one that murdered Kazuma. Professor Merkatoba, something else I forgot. Wasn't paying attention. Inspector Hosnaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. It's because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. Okay, let's actually read that again, because I had no control over that. Kazuma, Professor Mikitaba, Susato-san, who acted as my assistant. Okay. It's because all those people... it's because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. Oh. Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to do a Maya Fair situation and kill Kazuma. Is this going to put me straight onto the second trial? Oh, it is. Okay. Do I have the option to... Oh, okay. Good. It's giving me the option to back out. Cool. Because we can go and watch the... Not anecdote. What's it called? Escapade? Escapade, yes. Alright, before we do this, I'm going to take a quick break. Give my voice a little bit of a rest and go to the bathroom. Won't be too long. And I'm back. Right. First trial over. Let's check out its corresponding escapade. Escapade. Yeah. I assume this is going to be Antiques Dealer and Sergeant having a fight over the theft of the coin. In the first of 8 escapades, Reinosuke finds 2 troublemaking witnesses from his earlier trial having a battle of words in the defendant's antechamber, leading to a real tongue lashing. I have no idea how long these escapades are going to be. Hopefully not too long. Just outside the courtroom. After the trial ended. Oh shit, I've just knocked my glasses off my face. Whoops. Look at my precious treasure now. Myself, I have scrubbed and scrubbed. But the repellent odor of meat will never be repelled from its resplendent surface again. But you have it back, and in your possession at least. You should be grateful, old man. How dare you? Excuse me, but I'd just like to get that Zabuton cushion there, if you could. Rest assured, you miserable military malefactor. This is not over. Incarceration awaits those who would defraud a senior citizen of his priceless treasures. Watch your tongue, old man. Mark my words, I won't. Sorry, Sergeant, but could I just get that Zabuton cushion there as well? Oh? I want to go to jail. Never. Imagine if I did. The very next day, my boy would starve without the chains of command in place to provide for him. Using a child to protect yourself? Myself, I call that absolute cowardice. Oh, really? And and who just employed the old poor defenseless senior citizen tactic? The only way to fight an enemy who's using an underhanded tactics is with a tit-for-tat strategy. Sorry to interrupt again, but I just really need to get that Western Star cushion there on the sofa. Enough of this insubordination. What do you want, man? Oh, please, don't mind me. Oh god, the sergeant voice is fucking destroying me as well. Do my eyes deceive me? Was this the wide-eyed criminal from the trial before? Wide-eyed perhaps, but criminal, no. What is this unhealthy fascination you exhibit with the seating arrangements of others? Why were you peering under the cushions of this upholstered seat? Oh, well, the thing is... I assume this is going to be Kazuma. Any luck? Did you find it? Yay, I was right. No, sadly not. I don't think it's here, Kazuma. You really are a liability, Reinosuke. Report, at once. Have you lost something? Is that it? Yes, we were just on our way to We were just on our way to a party to celebrate my friend's victory here when I realized that my university pin badge was missing. University pin badge, you say? Yes, from my collar here, you see. Affirmative. Uniforms must be kept in prime conditions at all times. The missing badge is unacceptable. I thought if I looked around, I'd probably turn up somewhere. Like the old tale of the Coburn coin and the stake. A parable of which I am acutely aware. But I've exhausted my search now, really. The only logical conclusion is that someone must have stolen it. Don't look at me. I don't find just any old metal objects irresistible, you know. Imagine what would happen if my little Troubadour here swallowed something like that. I'm afraid we'll have to give up, Reinosuke. Still, if you tell the officer your student number, they should be able to issue you a new one. What's the matter? Don't tell me. You forgot your student number. Yes, I don't remember my student number. I don't believe it. I mean, this is the second time you've lost your badge, isn't it?
Third, actually.
If you didn't think you could remember it, you should have made a note of it somewhere. I told you that until I was blue in the face last time this happened.
Yes, I do seem to remember someone telling me something along those lines. It was you, was it?
You can't even remember who told you that you need to remember it.
Well, student numbers are 6 digits, Kazuma. Who could remember 6 whole digits? Damn.
What a fucking brain boggler. UMA isn't exactly a long-established university, you know. All our numbers are still rather low. In fact, they only use the last 3 digits.
Well, that might help, I suppose.
That might help? Reinosuke, it's only 3 digits you need to remember. Just 3.
Sorry, my brain is such a disappointment.
Yes, well, anyway, young man, myself, I was greatly impressed with you in the courtroom today.
Oh, you mean me?
A lawyer already before you've even graduated, and such a loyal friend to this one.
This one? What's that supposed to mean? No, I still have much to learn. In fact, that was brought home to me in no uncertain terms only last year. My Achilles heel was particularly exposed by my best friend here.
Indeed?
What? By me? It's the first time I've heard of it. Yes, by Reinosuke Naruhodo. You can't have forgotten, surely. It was last summer, at the speech contest.
The speech contest? Oh, that.
Contestants had to take to the stage and deliver a public address on any subject they chose.
We were competing to give the most compelling and powerful speech. And yours was great. It made a huge impression on the audience.
Obviously, since I was a budding student of law, I was determined to win. And sure enough, one by one, my opposition fell. When I reached the final at last, I came up against you.
Yes, so you did.
Not being rude, but when I first laid eyes on you, I thought to myself, this cheeky, wide-eyed no-hoper is out of his depth. He's going to be a pushover.
That's your version of not being rude, is it?
Well, I paid for my complacency, because it brought on that humiliating defeat. A defeat? How were your ranks compromised? My speech was going very well. I had the audience in the palm of my hand. They hung on my every word. And then, when I came to the very last line...
Yes? What happened at the very last line?
It was supposed to be a climactic end. Unfortunately, I completely fouled it up.
Never.
You mean, you stumbled on your words?
Spectacularly.
Even now, I can't believe I ruined it.
Don't be so harsh on yourself, dude. I've been fucking up constantly.
Well, what on earth did you say, man?
Reinosuke, you better say it. I can't get my tongue around it. Sure, of course. I can still recall it perfectly. What you said at the end of your speech, or rather, what you intended to say at the end of your speech, was this. So arise, ladies and gentlemen, and applaud your forefathers' plight in the fight of our fealty piety. I'm pretty sure I fucked that up at the end.
And what went wrong?
What indeed? Myself, I see no problem with the pronunciation of these paltry words.
In that case, old man, I invite you to say it yourself.
Very well then, I shall, So arise, ladies and gentlemen, and applaud our forefathers' plight and their fight for... It's impossible.
And arise, ladies and gentlemen part I delivered perfectly. But the next part had me floundering for a whole 5 minutes. 5 minutes? Jesus, dude. By the end of it, I was on my knees at the end of the podium, a blabbering my mess. Wow, I just fucked that one up. By the end of it, I was on my knees in front of the podium, a blabbering mess. And that's when the audience started to heckle you. Arise, arise, they were shouting.
Hell on earth.
But then, of course, this man went and delivered his word-perfect fuck me, I'm messing up my... His word-perfect speech with a perfect ending. How did it go again? Let me see. So, my dear fellows, the message is simple. Treat your father and mother with respect. Something like that? I mean, talk about stating the obvious. The fact is, I lost to that speech.
Tongue-tied is the only way to describe it.
Well, it is quite tricky to say, I agree. That final fight for filial piety. Filial piety. Especially. And ever since that day, I've had this question whirling around in my head. Why did our forefathers choose such an awkward phrase? Was it to mock their children? I mean, I should never have been I didn't press that. That just skipped forward. I mean, it should never have been called filial piety in the first place. At least you're finally going to get oh my god, this whole conversation is like broken my tongue. At least you're going to Great Britain soon. It might not come up much there. Well, anyway, having lost that accursed contest, I came after you to ask you a question. How is it that you would never trip up on your words? I inquired, and you just gave me a broad smile and said, Speaking fast is my hobby. I mean, really, what kind of hobby is that? Do you think you could take your hand off your sword? Besides, it's just a way to pass the time. After that, you started talking to me, 10 to the dozen. Like you were possessed, almost. Honestly, you can't imagine the shock I suffered that day. You really can't. You're right, I really can't. Speaking fast is a sort of hobby I can expect a civilian like you to waste your time on. Well, you have to practice, of course, but there are some simple things to start with. Like this famous one, for example. Swift samurai swords swipe silently sideways.
Ah, yes, even a decrepit tongue like with an ailing frame such as mine can find its way around that one.
I've no doubt. It's just a bit of fun, really. I can't imagine anybody would struggle with it. Isn't that right, Kazuma?
Swift samurai sword.
Ah! A blabbering mess by word, too. It's not just a samurai. Every good soldier needs to be able to handle a sword. That's why I've been busy teaching Ido the finer points of swordsplay. None of this wordplay nonsense, Private. Come to think of it, not long after that we started to attend lectures together, didn't we? And we got into that debate about family values at this sukiyaki place on campus. Do you remember? Yes. Your argument was full of jokes and puns and wordplay as usual. I remember it well. Oh, was it? In any case, I swore that I would never let myself forget the shock you gave me back then. And as a symbol of how seriously I took that oath, I decided to wear this, my red Hachimaki headband. Sorry, Kazuma. Yes? You've lost me there, I'm afraid. I don't see the link. What does your red headband have to do with your oath? Because It will always remind me of that smug look on your face as you uttered those tantalizing words. What words? Do you mean another tongue twister? I practiced and practiced until my tongue bled, but in the end, I mastered it. Mastered what? Well, I think it's time you heard this, actually. Listen carefully now. Here goes. Red headband, lead headband, dead headband. There, word perfect, see? I had actually been meaning to ask you about that. About the story behind your headband, I mean. Well, now you know. So that I'll never forget the shock and humiliation of that day. That's why I wear this red headband every single day without fail. Well, I don't exactly know how much of a shock you think you had back then, but it can't be more than the shock you've just given me now. What do you mean? Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but the tongue twister I said didn't go the way you seem to have remembered it. Huh? It's just as famous as Swift Samurai Sword, so I can't believe you didn't know it, actually. It goes... Red bread pan, lead bread pan, dead bread pan. Oh no, it's man at the end. Red bread pan, lead bread pan, dead bread man. Wait. Bed red pa... Ugh. Seems I've knocked some wind out of that headband of yours. It's not too late, Private. You could always start wearing a bread pan. Red bead... Oh my god. You could always start wearing a red bread pan on your head instead.
Your youthful vigor is manifest, young man. Your cheeks are glowing redder than your hachimaki.
Ah! Why do so many words have to be so similar? So, looking forward to Great Britain then? Where you'll have to deliver speeches in court in English? I suppose. I could always shell seashells on the seashell. God, please let that be the end of the... Because I think I'm about to give up. Oh. Okay. So those are pretty, like, shortish sequences then. Longer than I was expecting, but not, like, that long, to be honest. Alright, that is the first case down, done. The Adventure of the Great Departure. Next will be The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. Unbreakable Speckled Band. I wonder if that's his headband or if it's to do with what's her face? Giselle Barrett. I expect there'll be more to do with her. That felt like a weird place to, like, stop her story, with her just not being arrested for the crime, and with no motive given for her murdering of the professor. It seems like there's going to be follow-on to that. But yeah, really good first case, really strong. Nothing too complex in it just yet, but it is the first case of the game, so we'll ramp up in difficulty. Longer than I was expecting. I was expecting just a quick done and dusted thing, but it ended up being a full-length trial, like a full three-parter. Anecdote. I'm going to keep calling them anecdotes, but Escapade was alright. Nice little follow-up on some stuff that the actual case didn't go into. Didn't mention whether Yes or No Sir was going to get arrested for theft. I assume he would be, but who knows. I expect him or the old man to show up in future cases, to be recurring characters like they did with like A Lot of Heart and Wendy Oldbag in the original trilogy. Next time, we'll move on to the second case, but that is going to be it for today. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time. Cheers. Bye.